determination, and reaching extraordinary creativity towards outlasting results. That's what director means to me. As a filmmaker, this is something I've had a passion for a very long time. We all have a dream, we all have a vision, we all have an idea. No matter how small it is or how big it is, it's very important that you make that idea happen. Learn from the best, learn from our mistakes, we learn from who we are. We like to be creative to express who we are as people through our actions, through our life experiences. Appreciate what you have, appreciate your support, appreciate your craft, your talent, whatever it is that you do. Be the visionary that you want to be the artist that you want to be. If you can't tell yourself that you're going to be a great person one day, you're selling yourself short. Take the time to grow. Don't rush the process. Trust the process. Be the best version of you, because no one can tell your story but you. Learn that you can't do everything alone. Learn to have a team. Learn to have people in your corner. Believe in yourself. Believe that the world needs you. And if you do not understand the concept of dreaming big, then you're not dreaming big enough.
Accomplished, determined, dedicated. That's Rhiannon Arnold, named one of the top 100 defense attorneys in the country. Rhiannon's career has been defined by fighting for the underprivileged and standing up for the disenfranchised. And as a survivor of child abuse, Rhiannon has dedicated herself to caring for our children, serving as a guardian ad litem and family legal aid volunteer. Now she's running for circuit court judge to serve her community in a different, more impactful way. Learn more at arnold4judge.com.
Orange and Osceola residents, my name is Michaela Nix, and I am running to be your next Ninth Circuit judge for Group 1. Experience matters. I am a solo practitioner in the family law arena, and I have conducted over 60 bench trials. I have done over 250 mediations, and I've written successful appellate briefs. During my time as a lawyer, I have done over 800 substantive hearings. This is important, but not more important than community service. Being in the Orlando area for over 20 years of service, I know that your voice is your vote. Please vote for me August 18th, 2020 for your next circuit judge. Fairness, honesty.
What's happening, family? It's your main man, TJ Chatman, host of the TJ Chatman Show. We got a special edition tonight that I'm excited to be able to moderate this thing, and the people asked for it, and the TJ Chatman Show delivered, and I like it, So joining me tonight are the candidates for the upcoming 9th Judicial Circuit Court Judge right here for Orange County and Osceola County, and joining us on tonight's panel discussion is Michaela Nix and Rhiannon Arnold. I'm glad to be here. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you very much, TJ.
Wow. Y'all can relax now. I mean, shoot, you're only watching in front of a few thousand folks. You know, I ain't big time like that yet. But y'all can sit back, y'all can relax, we're gonna have a good time. This is what we do on the show. And of course, you guys are in this important race that's coming up August the 18th, which is next Tuesday, to be exact. Right now, early voting is still going on right now. So if you haven't voted yet because you wanted to find out, get your last decision, because a lot of people out there on the fence right now to figure out, you know, who to vote for, who not to vote for. There's a lot of rumors that are out there, and hopefully we can put those rumors to bed right here. And so this is going to be something different for me. You know, it's my first time being able to moderate, but I've done a lot of research and work, so you guys are going to be my experiment tonight. So you got to start somewhere, right? So so basically how the questions are going to go, I'm going to ask each candidate a question. You'll have a minute to answer the question. And then towards the end, since you guys are both lawyers, we're going to have closing arguments. In this case here, a close-ended discussion on why the people who are on the fence trying to figure out who wants to vote for who. And that'll be your closing statement and your stamp of approval on why they should get your vote. Are you with Team Nix? Are you with Team Arnold? And tonight, hopefully that will answer your question to get on the side of either side. So we're going to get started right now. All right, so Michaela, there's a lot of rumors that are out there. And of course, rumors can be spread by many different ways, of course. And the one thing that I think about rumors is, okay, you're hearing it from everybody else, except from the horse's mouth, they say. And so right now, it's one important question, rumor I should say, that's out there that a lot of people want to know from Michaela what those comments were and how put those rumors to bed, basically. So there's an immigration question, and that particularly black immigrants, Caribbeans, Haitians, West Indies. Talk to us about that and put those rumors to bed. What was said?
Well, thank you. So, first of all, thank you for having this show. It is very important. Your voice is your vote. So, when we're talking about rumors, I've been in this community for over 20 years, and I've never heard any type of hearsay before. I really think it's my opponent's surrogates. They're just trying to either discredit me or to say some things that are negative. But I think that I'm a lawyer. Facts is what I like to look at. Credibility is what I like to look at. And so when we're talking about these rumors, you have to look at the source of the rumors. Who are they coming from? What are these rumors pertaining to? And I think that if you look at the rumors, you will find that none of the rumors have come but from my opponent's team. And so I've never met some of these people, although I would love to meet Ms. Trisha Bailey, but I've never met any of the people that are claiming these rumors. And no one can ever say who it came from or where it is. So my mom always said that you can look at a person the best about how they speak about others. And so for me, it's just a rumor's a rumor. My name speaks for itself. I've never had any of these type of hearsay issues. And so that's what I have to really say about rumors. I'm very proud. I'm an African American. We are all immigrants, right? Nobody is here from America. And my forefathers, I've been here from 1887. They definitely came on a slave ship here. So I just think that it's just rumors, and I think that people should do their research and look at my community service, look at me as a person, and I think that that would just put it to bed at that point.
Okay, and so at the end of the day, the rumors are not true, and
Definitely
the comments
not true.
that were made.
Definitely not true, and honestly quite insulting. But you know, it's a campaign, so you got to take what you got and you kind of move on. And so hopefully people look at the credibility, they look at what I've done in the community, they look at what I've done in the community, and so they just make their own decisions for that. But I definitely think that credibility matters and where the source of the rumors come from.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rhiannon, I said it right?
Yes, sir, you did.
Listen, I've been practicing the mirror like ever since we said we're gonna do it. Okay, all right, so let me get this right. Kept practicing. So I finally got it right without stumbling over it. So now for those who actually don't know you and all they see on the ballot is, okay, this is, you know, a white woman running against a black woman. And last night, Michaela had opportunity to tell the people who she is, you know, what her background is. So I'm gonna give you the same opportunity to talk to the viewers, the listeners, so that they can know who Rhiannon is. Tell us about yourself.
Okay. Rhiannon Arnold. I've been an attorney here in the Central Florida area for 15 years. After I graduated Florida State University, I moved to Orlando to take a job with the Public Defender's Office. I stayed there approximately 2.5 years and then opened my own practice, the Arnold Law Group, where I've been a trial attorney in the Central Florida area since. I originally started as a criminal defense practitioner, practicing solely criminal defense on the state and federal level in the Central Florida area. And in 2014, after I had my first daughter, I transitioned into personal injury litigation. I've been a trial lawyer my entire career, trying cases, everything from DUIs and driving on suspended licenses all the way up to first-degree murder cases in front of juries all around the state of Florida. I now practice mostly civil litigation in front of juries, so auto accidents, slip and fall cases, civil rights violation cases in federal courts. I've been a member of the community here. I live over on the west side in Ocoee. I have been a member of the Guardian Ad Litem program, the Orange County Legal Aid community, providing pro bono legal services for Central Florida residents who cannot afford sealing and expungements but want to re-enter the workplace and need to clear criminal histories from their past mistakes. That's most of the legal community service that I provide, but have been in the legal community, in the Central Florida community, mostly behind the scenes, honestly. My husband and I have been involved. We own our law firm together. He's an attorney as well. And so we've owned the Arnold Law Group together since we got married in 2009. He joined my firm after leaving the firm that he was with prior to that. And we've been in the community doing, giveaways, providing money to different organizations, mentoring youth, doing things, speaking at elementary schools. But a lot of the things we do in the background. And I decided to run for circuit court judge because I saw a need in our community for experienced judges who were not appointed by the governor, that had trial experience that could really affect our community and impact them in a different way. And I decided it was time for me to give back to my community that had given me so much through the law, and that's why I decided to run. Wow,
very impressive, very impressive. And so we're speaking about rumors, and since you have the mic now, you're married, and you're married to a black guy. Okay. Rumor has it is that you're weaponizing him to gain the black vote. What do you say to that?
I say that I'm not weaponizing anything. Every judicial candidate that I know of from Kingdom Come places their family on their website and their mailers. It's a strategy that people use to humanize themselves to the community and let the community know something personally about them. There's so few things that we as judicial candidates can talk about to our community and to a potential voter who doesn't know anything about us. My husband is someone that I'm very proud of, but on top of him being my husband, he's an integral part of my legal career as well. We met in court. He's my partner in business. There's not any way that I would have ever been able to do this without him 100% by my side. In fact, he's one of the people that encouraged me to stop complaining about the problems that I saw in the legal system and the lack of character that I saw in lawyers every day, and to stop complaining about it and get out and do something about it. So he's with me 150%. I'm not trying to weaponize him in any way. At no point in time have I ever said you should vote for me because I have a black husband or because I have black children, ever. I think people should vote for me because I'm the candidate that has the most experience and I'm the right candidate for this seat. Not because my husband's black, not because my children are black, not because I'm white. Unfortunately, if someone thinks because I took a picture with my black husband and my biracial children that means I'm trying to weaponize and mount up my black husband, that's a problem they have, not a problem I have.
Thank you. Now, Michaela, same rumor has it that you're weaponizing your black skin to say, hey, I'm a black woman, black female, you should vote for me because I'm black, and that you have a different type of agenda. So what do you say to that rumor of you weaponizing your black skin to gain the black votes and, hey, vote for me because I'm black?
Well, that's a great question, and I actually addressed that in a Facebook post. I think that being black is an asset. So when we talk about coming into a courtroom, we have in the state of Florida 84% white judges, 9% Hispanic, and 6.6 African American, based on an article that Shannon Green wrote in the Orlando Sentinel. I think that having skin color is an asset. Everybody should have cultural competency. Everyone should treat people with respect and dignity, but everybody doesn't have the color skin that is black or of color. Some people lack melanin in their skin. And so when we're talking about being black, it's definitely an asset. It is more relatable. You can have a black husband, you can have biracial children, but you're not black. And so when you go into a courtroom, I definitely think that I will, for some people, have a better interaction. They can feel closer to me. They can leave thinking that they're with more equity and more fairness. And furthermore, there needs to be people of all different colors on leadership roles. This is key. It is important. It is the reason why I think that the next generation needs to be inspired. I will be the first African American woman to ever win a contested race if I am elected by this honorable Osceola and Orange County residents. That's huge. The last person that did that was in 1991, Belvin Perry. So I'm not saying vote for me because I'm black. I'm saying vote for me because I have awesome accolades. I have an amazing group of people behind me. I have endorsements by the Orlando Sentinel and many other mayors and many other community leaders and faith-based people. I am saying vote for me because obviously I am really qualified to be and run in this position. I have bench trial experience. I may not have a lot of civil experience, but I do have criminal jury experience. And I don't think that jury trials is the ultimate say-so of whether you're going to be a great judge or not. I think it's character. I think it's whether or not you can sit on boards that have multiple people of socioeconomic backgrounds. I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. And so I have sat on multiple boards with different types of people, even on the being appointed to the 2016 Charter Review Commission. So it's not that I think that you should vote for me because I'm black. I think that being black is an asset. And if that is an asset to some people, maybe not for others. But that is why I talk about the importance of seeing different people in leadership roles.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we're going to get into our panel discussion. Again, each candidate, you have 1 minute to answer the question. So, Candidate Arnold, I'm going to start with you first. You've talked about having experience, a lot of it, tons of it, buku of it, however you want to call it. So, describe the ideal judge. What is the ideal judge with the experience that you've had?
For me, an ideal judge is a judge that makes every person feel when they come into their courtroom that they are getting an adequate, fair shake when they finally get their day in court. The thing that happens all too often in our court system is that our court system is underfunded and is backed up. And so people wait very long periods of time to get their day in court. And all too often what happens is when they finally get their moment in that circle in the courtroom, they don't feel as though they're adequately represented for their moment in court. And so I think the point of a really good judge is to make every single person, no matter who they are or what their issue is that comes before the court, whether they win or they lose, make sure that they leave the courtroom feeling like, I know for certain that that judge listened to me and that judge heard me. I felt heard and I felt valued in that courtroom.
Thank you. Candidate Nix, same question. What is the ideal judge for you?
I think the ideal judge is a judge who is fair. And when we talk about fair, there's a lot of degrees to fair. So an ideal judge has a plethora of experiences and knowledge to determine what is fair and what may not be. An ideal judge is someone who is not going to advocate from the bench. The ideal judge for me is being prepared, being committed. And when you walk into that courtroom, whether you win or lose, whether that judge calls whatever ball or strike, that you knew that you felt heard. And when we talk about specifically family law, there is a ton of backlog. And so we don't even have a business court anymore because the family law sector was just so high. So for me, an ideal judge is a person that is for the community, the person that just doesn't sit on a bench and look up high, but a person that is relatable, and overall, a person who is going to make decisions promptly And those decisions are going to be fair. And that's what I think an ideal judge is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question. What experience, with the experience that you have, your experience, your skills, what would you bring to this position if elected?
For me, one of the things that I would bring is the vast amount of trial experience before juries that I have. Circuit court judges are unique in the fact that the majority of things that they hear outside of family law are in front of a jury. And so at this point in time, with the backlog of COVID, most circuit court judges, when our court system picks back up, are going to be all hands on deck dealing with criminal cases because of the backlog of jury trials that have not occurred since March. And so I think that what makes me unique and makes me the right candidate for this position is that from day one, no matter where they place me, I'll be ready to start a jury trial the first day on the job because I've done them. I know how they work. I'll be prepared to handle that. And so if the court were to give me a murder trial on day one, I'd be ready to handle that.
Thank you. Michaela, candidate Nix. Same question. What experience and skills would you bring to this position?
It's a great question. And so, one, I'm going to bring legal acumen. So when we talk about being a lawyer, I have done just not bench trials. I have done juvenile dependency, which is also bench trials. I've done domestic violence, which is also bench trials. I have done some criminal jury trials, and I think that mediations. And so when you talk about the best judge candidate, they need to have a plethora of experiences, but not just experience. They need to have character. Character matters. That judge doesn't feel that they are entitled. They don't look down on someone. They don't treat people differently because they are a judge. They are there to be an impartial person to keep procedure. And that's one thing that I've done throughout my life. I've sat on multiple boards that you have to keep procedure. And I don't think that some lawyers may not have that experience outside of the courtroom. They may not have the experience where they can go to different types of people, socioeconomic backgrounds, and be able to sit down with them. And I think that that is something unique that I bring to the table.
Thank you. Next question. What is the most significant challenge facing the court for which you're applying for, and how can that challenge be addressed?
Certainly, it's the backlog that we're currently facing. We were facing a backlog and an underfunding prior to COVID. We were looking for 2 new circuit court positions in the Ninth Circuit. They had been approved, they had been funded, and then our governor vetoed them in this yearly budget. Now we have to deal with the fact that our courts have essentially been closed, especially for the purpose of trials, since late February. And so we're just going to have a massive backlog. People have not been able to get into court and have their matters heard. And I think that one of the ways that we're going to be able to deal with that is the use of technology that we've been dealing with and we've been using for virtual hearings, for short matters and hearings that can be held virtually. And then the other is that we're going to all have to be hands on deck. We're going to have to go in and all work together, put our heads together as judges, and start moving cases along so that our community has their matters heard efficiently as quickly as possible.
Thank you. Next question. Same question to you. Michaela, go.
Can you re-ask the question?
Yeah, absolutely. Question was, what is the most significant challenge facing the court for which you're applying for, and how can that challenge be addressed?
I would say that COVID-19 has brought in a unique set of additional problems that we may have already had in the Ninth Circuit. So when we're talking about cases getting pushed forward and cases being heard, there is a backlog. And as described, that backlog was so significant that they actually closed down the business court because of it. They couldn't just keep up. So when you're talking about technology, you're going to have lots of plethora of different types of people who may not be as technologically savvy. You're going to have pro se litigants that are trying to maneuver this new technology. They may not have a computer at home. They may not be able to download the Zoom or the Microsoft Teams or to share their documents. And so it's going to be a huge learning curve for members of the community. We have lots of different types of people in our community. And so for senior citizens who may not have technology or someone who may not have a computer at home, dealing with the backlog of cases is going to be unique in nature. But it's going to be also unique to see how different types of people, variety of socioeconomic backgrounds and ages, deal with technology as well.
Thank you. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to go to commercial break really quick. And I know you guys probably like nervous and like shaking and wanted to, get some water. But me, I'm going to get me some cognac and pour myself some. And you guys at home, get your cognac, your wine right. You already know the saying. We'll be right back. Got to pay some bills. So keep it locked. The best is yet to come. Let's go.
Determination and reaching extraordinary creativity towards outlasting results. That's what director means to me. As a filmmaker, this is something I've had a passion for a very long time. We all have a dream, we all have a vision, we all have an idea. No matter how small it is or how big it is, it's very important that you make that idea happen. Learn from the best, learn from our mistakes, we learn from who we are. We like to be creative to express who we are as people. Through our actions, through our life experiences. Appreciate what you have, appreciate your support, appreciate your craft, your talent, whatever it is that you do. Be the visionary that you want to be the artist that you want to be. If you can't tell yourself that you're going to be a great person one day, you're selling yourself short. Take the time to grow. Don't rush the process. Trust the process. Be the best version of you, because no one can tell your story but you. Learn that you can't do everything alone. Learn to have a team. Learn to have people in your corner. Believe in yourself. Believe that the world needs you. And if you do not understand the concept of dreaming big, then you're not dreaming big enough.
I began my career as a public defender in this community 20 years ago, fighting for those who could not afford to pay for an attorney. And I have been fighting for justice ever since. My name is Monique Worrell, and I am running for state attorney in Orange and Osceola County. Our criminal legal system is fundamentally flawed, working on behalf of the rich and powerful and against everyone else. As a country, we incarcerate people at the highest rate in the world. And as the state of Florida, we incarcerate our citizens at a rate higher than the national average, failing to keep us safer. Having served as an assistant public defender, a law professor, and an assistant state attorney, I know that the only way to change the system is to change the culture of prosecution. We cannot continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. It's time for a fresh perspective on justice. Join me in the fight for justice at MoniqueForStateAttorney.com.
Accomplished, determined, dedicated. That's Rhiannon Arnold, named one of the top 100 defense attorneys in the country. Rhiannon's career has been defined by fighting for the underprivileged and standing up for the disenfranchised. And as a survivor of child abuse, Rhiannon has dedicated herself to caring for our children, serving as a guardian ad litem and family legal aid volunteer. Now she's running for circuit court judge to serve her community in a different, more impactful way. Learn more at arnoldforjudge.com.
Orange and Osceola residents, my name is Michaela Nix, and I am running to be your next Ninth Circuit judge for Group 1. Experience matters. I am a solo practitioner in the family law arena, and I have conducted over 60 bench trials. I have done over 250 mediations, and I've written successful appellate briefs. During my time as a lawyer, I have done over 800 substantive hearings. This is important, but not more important than community service. Being in the Orlando area for over 20 years of service, I know that your voice is your vote. Please vote for me August 18th, 2020 for your next circuit judge. Fairness, honesty, and justice for all. Orange and Osceola.
Welcome back, welcome back. We are at the bottom of the hour. Uh-oh, good? Oh, perfect. All right, give me the thumbs up. I'm like, I don't know what that means right there. I don't do sign language yet. But anyway, we are back, man, and we're having a great time. And I know it's kind of different, and I'm having fun. Y'all having fun?
Yeah.
Really? Now, this is the first time you guys have met, right?
Yes.
Wow. Y'all in a race together. Y'all haven't ran into each other in the streets and nothing like that yet?
COVID-19. We're not.
Well, I mean, y'all go to the grocery store or something like that. Y'all don't. Anyway, all right. So we're gonna move on to the next question. So this time we're gonna start off with you, Michaela, and again, you'll have a minute to answer. And so let's get it started. All right. So what would you do if you had to master an unfamiliar area of the law in relatively a short period of time?
Great. So actually that happens a lot in family law because it's such a general area. Sometimes you have to learn different areas. For example, domestic violence could take place in a case, or you could have a situation where you're in a dissolution of marriage or divorce and you're suing partners, and that becomes a civil case. Or you could have a situation where you have juvenile dependency happen within your case. So what I do is what I did in law school. You study. You are committed to learning that information, and then you ask people in that field as well. And another thing that I think that is what you should do is you should go to that judge's courtroom that you're going to visit, and you sit there and you watch a couple of those cases in addition to studying the law and then obviously executing that said law. Then you also look at some appeals in that area and you do some case law research. Being a lawyer is very unique that we are able to obtain a lot of volume of information in short periods of time. That's what we were trained to do. And so it would be nothing different than what I am trained to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same question. What would you do if you had to master an unfamiliar area of the law in relatively a short period of time?
The great thing about the law is that we all have a set of rules and everything is written out for us. So the very first thing that I would do is go to the rules of procedure in that area of the law and read up on them, learn what I needed to find out about how to practice that area of law. Typically, in each area of the law, there is a condensed set of rules that if you learn those are the ones that guide you. And they're the ones that you need to know to really follow that area of the law. And then the great thing that we have in the Ninth is all of our judges are very helpful. Whether you're a lawyer and you're a practitioner, or whether you're a brand new baby judge, you can reach out to the other judges who have practiced that area of law and they will help guide you. And so those would be the two things that I would do: study up on the rules in the new area of law that I'm placed in, and then look to my senior judges for their guidance in helping me in learning the law.
Thank you. Now, the next set of questions, we're going to increase the time to 2 minutes. So, therefore, you can get more out, because I think this is more kind of diving into what the people really want to know going into next week's election. So, Michaela, there's been a lot of different things happening, in our, justice system. Have you ever had to support a legal position that was contrary to your personal or moral beliefs?
Definitely. As a lawyer, you are an advocate. And so you have to put some of your personal beliefs aside to maybe be a strong advocate for that client. And so there's been a plethora of different times that I have spoken to or I have tried a case that I may not personally agree with, but those are my clients. They are paying you for a service, and money doesn't grow on trees. And so if someone is paying you and you're their advocate, you must do so. Now, there also has been times where I didn't take cases. Being a solo practitioner, I have a very unique ability. Owning my own law firm, I can decide what cases I take and what cases I don't take. And I can also decide at what type of cases I would draw. And so I've had some cases where they weren't following the instructions, they weren't following the law, and I had to separate myself because they were not following the guidelines that were implemented. But I've definitely had situations where my personal beliefs may not have lined up with my client's beliefs, but I'm an advocate. And I'm advocating for my client, and I believe that's what you have to do as a lawyer to the utmost degree until your morals or your own personal beliefs start to bend too far. But I haven't had that happen to me very often.
Okay, thank you. Same question. Have you ever had to support a legal position that was contrary to your personal belief?
Absolutely. There have been times where I have defended people that I certainly knew had probably broken the law, but my job was to argue to a jury of their peers that the state could not prove that they had broken the law. There have definitely been clients that have been found not guilty that I certainly, within the confines of our attorney-client privilege, knew that they probably were guilty. There have also been times where I have stood before the court and have not felt as though the laws of the state of Florida should be prosecuting my client for something, but that's the laws of the state of Florida and they must be followed, and we have had to, diligently defend clients in those matters. And so as an attorney, at the end of the day, the laws of the state of Florida and the Constitution of the United States is really what I'm protecting on behalf of my clients. And that will be no different when I'm a judge. Once I take that oath, I will be upholding the Constitution of the United States of America and the laws of the state of Florida. And just as I have done as an attorney, I'll take that oath very seriously. My personal beliefs won't matter anymore when I put that black robe on and go to work each day.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, next question. Michaela, how will you work to ensure equality for the people of all backgrounds in your courtroom?
First of all, just me being there. Me being in a robe, in a bench, in front of people is going to show some perception of equality. Equality is a very loose word, I like to say, because I believe that equality can come in different forms. And some people may not feel that the law is equal, or they may not feel that the law inherently has, inherently has some biases. And so when you're talking about equality, it has to start somewhere. And it needs to start with a diverse bench which reflects the community. If the bench does not reflect the community, there will be a perception of inequality, non-equitable, and that's where we can definitely start. Now, moving forward, you have a plethora of different things that you can do. As a judge, if I'm elected as judge, then what you can do is that you can show fairness, you can show equal, and I believe that you can do that on the bench without necessarily advocating for one person over the other. And so when we're talking about equality, what we can do is make sure that the law is represented fairly, that one person or one particular race or creed or socioeconomic background is not being treated different than anyone else. And I believe that I will do that very well. I have done that. And so when I become a judge, it is just like merely finishing off something that I've already started, ready to rock and roll as soon as I get on that bench. And I think that is a showing and a sign of equality. And I'm pretty excited to do that coming up August 18th, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same question. How will you work to ensure equality for people of all background in your courtroom?
I think taking a stance. one of the things that I think is important for a judge to do in their courtroom is to make sure that people are being treated equally, not just by the court itself, but by all the players inside the courtroom. I think that a judge has a unique ability inside his or her courtroom to make sure that all parties are being treated equally. And when a judge notices and can pinpoint that parties aren't being treated equally, to stop it, to call it out. And I don't necessarily mean in an embarrassing way, but at the end of the day, the judge presides over that courtroom. And so if, as a judge, if I'm seeing on a basis that people that are black or brown are being treated differently than people who are white in a criminal courtroom, if that's what I'm presiding over, then simply taking the time to call all the attorneys that are in my courtroom into the back room and have a meeting and discuss it and let them know it's being noticed, I think is a big deal. I think that once you are able to pinpoint that there's a problem, that and you call it out for what it is, then that makes the parties stand up and notice that someone else is noticing what's going on. My grandma used to have this old adage that she would say to me, and I've carried it with me forever: I can't fix a problem that I don't know exists. So sometimes our biases, if we don't get called out on them, we're not willing or we're not capable of admitting that they're there. And so one of the things that I think I'm capable of doing, because I've seen it and I'm willing to admit and I'm capable of admitting that biases occur, they're there, and I think that I have a unique perspective, being white and seeing things that are different, is calling people out for the biases that they have and trying to make a difference with them.
Thank you. Next question. Michaela, what do you perceive to be the greatest obstacle in the justice system, if any?
The greatest obstacle, I think, sometimes is implicit bias. So sometimes people don't realize that they have these specific biases, or they don't realize that forms are not in all languages where everyone can understand, or they don't realize that there's more than maybe one or two languages, so translators are needed. I believe that the biggest obstacle is money, funding. Our state has to pretty much divvy out money, and sometimes the Ninth Circuit or court proceedings in general don't get the proper funding. And so now you have a issue where you have a lack of funding and you're trying to make everything work. And so it can be difficult. And I believe that you have to sometimes shave different areas. And I think that sometimes that biggest obstacle is, what do you shave? What do you take back when you don't have as much funding? And then when that happens, I think it becomes a real big arena for everyone. And I think so funding would be the major issue that I think is lacking right now, and the major obstacle, because we have so many cases backlogged. We have so many things that we wish that we could get accomplished, but the money's just not there.
Thank you. Candidate Arnold, same question. What do you perceive to be the greatest obstacle to justice, if any?
To me, the greatest obstacle to justice that we have right now in our court system is how politicized our justice system has become. I didn't really understand fully how politicized our justice system had become until I started this campaign 22 months ago. We have three what are supposed to be very independent branches of government, and unfortunately, they no longer are independent. Because of the fact that we have our executive branch appointing judges to our judicial branch, and then we have so many players dipping their fingers into our judicial branch monetarily, our judicial branch is no longer an independent branch of government. It's no longer free. Judges are no longer free to make decisions. We now have Tallahassee making plans for minimum mandatories and telling judges from Tallahassee that they can't make their own decisions about cases in Orlando, that lawmakers in Tallahassee don't have any idea about what's going on. And so justice can't be served in the courtrooms of Orange and Osceola County, or any county for that matter, because Tallahassee won't get its fingers out of the courtroom. And so the politicalization of our justice system and the lack of the independent of three branches of government is the biggest hurdle that we have to justice continuing to occur in our justice system.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next question, Michaela. Describe the most challenging ethical dilemma you have encountered, and how did you handle that situation?
Let's see. I think it was when I had a client. We were right there. We had an amazing case. We ended up going to an appeals. We were going to win. That appeal, we had already won our stay, meaning we had already, the judge in the Ninth Circuit had already, the Fifth Court of Appeal, or the bigger level, had already said, no, that wasn't the correct issue, to send it back. And my client began to not follow the rules. And I had to make a decision. Now, this case is going to be a huge case. I mean, it's going to get me TV view. It's going to boost my law firm. It can make me a whole bunch of money. What do? Do you continue to take that case, even though the person is not following the said rules, or do you take a stance? And for me, it was I took a stance. Although this could have been a huge case in my career, I decided that him not following those rules at that particular time would end up making it look bad on me. It would make it look bad on other potential fathers that were following him, and it would just not be the proper way to litigate. I am a lawyer, but at the end of the day, I am a person that follows the rules, and that's why I'm going to be a great judge. I follow the rules, no matter how hard they may be or how confusing or complicated it may get. You got to follow those rules. And if the person's not following the rules, then you have to make some tough decisions. And that was a huge obstacle for me. So I ended up deciding, hey, that case isn't for me. And so I politely withdrew from the case and moved on. But I think that was a huge obstacle in my legal career as a solo practitioner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same question. Describe the most challenging ethical dilemma you have encountered, and how did you handle that situation?
The most challenging ethical dilemma that I've had in my practice was settling a case on behalf of an injured client that I knew had mental health issues, but she did not rise to the criteria of needing to be met as a ward with the court, and knowing that she self-medicated to handle her mental health diagnosis, and knowing that giving her her personal injury settlement could be detrimental to her life, but also knowing that my job as her attorney was to do what was in the best interest of her, and battling for a significant period of time as to what was going to happen, and giving her that significant amount of money, and her inability to handle that significant amount of money, and being worried about her well-being once I gave it to her. I contacted the bar. I contacted other attorneys that were mentors to me. And at the end of the day, I was obligated to give her that money, and all I could do was hope and pray that she would make good decisions once it was given to her. But that was a huge ethical dilemma for me, personally.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Final question before we go to closing arguments, since you guys are both lawyers and everything. I'm sure you guys used to that, right? So one final question. If you win the race, what words of advice and encouragement can you give? Michaela, go.
You can do it. I am not special. You can do it if you're focused, if you're driven. Don't be scared of the word first. You just gotta put those shoes on, and you gotta go out walking. You gotta put your bootstraps on, and you gotta go. You can do it. And I say to stay focused, and always remember to have a SMART goal: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, in a certain time frame, and you can accomplish just about anything.
Thank you. Same question. If you win this race, what words of advice and encouragement can you give? Go.
To always make sure that every decision that you make is something that you wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and are proud of. No matter how far and low they go, make sure, in the words of Michelle Obama, that you stay high. Because at the end of the day, everyone else is watching, even when you think that they're not, and they're watching, and they will see that you stay high even when they go low, and it will matter in the end. And that when you stay high, everyone else will see that, and that matters. That's what real character is really about.
Thank you. Wow, that was amazing. That's something that a lot of viewers wanted to hear, especially those who are actually on the fence of deciding, okay, am I going to go for Team Nix? Am I going to go for Team Arnold? And I think, the two of you all displayed why you should be the next circuit court judge in the Ninth Circuit. So here's where most of the time decisions are made, and that's at closing argument time, okay? You can be like Matthew McConaughey, Time to Kill. I remember that movie. That closing argument is what got him off, okay? So I'm going to start with you, Candidate Arnold. Closing arguments. For all the viewers out there listening and watching tonight's show who still are on the fence about who to vote for, why should they vote for Team Arnold? Go. You got 3 minutes on this one.
Thank you so much for having us, TJ. I appreciate it. Thank you, community, for asking for this. I hope that the majority of your answers were answered this evening. At the end of the day, this race is really about experience and who can serve you best as a community. There were lots of questions that were asked, and I hope that we've been able to answer them. I am a trial attorney, and I've been in this community for 15 years. So many of you that are out there listening tonight know me. A lot of you have had personal contact with me, and you know who I am. I don't have to sit here and tell you about who I am and what I've done in our community, because you already know. At the end of the day, I'm prepared to serve you, our community, as your next circuit court judge. I have the trial experience that matters. And it does matter. It matters because you want a judge who is prepared from day one to go into a courtroom and ready to work for you and your loved ones if you have an opportunity to come before the court, and is prepared and ready to do so. What you don't need is a politician, somebody who's looking to have their name in lights and be recognized at any cost. That's not what you're looking for. What you're looking for is someone who is ready to work in our system and is prepared to work somewhere in those 23 floors of the Orange County Courthouse or the 6 floors of the Osceola County Courthouse. And yes, I have experience in civil and criminal and juvenile, and while I haven't practiced family law, it's something I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to learn for you guys in the community. It's not something that I've ever been interested in doing because of my background as a child abuse survivor. It's not something that's ever interested me, but I'm willing to learn if you guys elect me and you say that I'm prepared and ready in the candidate that you want on the bench. So I'm asking all of you to go to our website, Arnold, 4 Judge. That's our Instagram handle, our Twitter handle, our Facebook handle, and our website handle. I'm asking you, if you're still undecided, go look at the over 400 members of our community who have endorsed me. Go and look at what they've said about me. Go and look at what they say I'm prepared to do for our legal community. And I'm asking for you to get out and early vote between now and Sunday, or come out and vote on the 18th for Arnold for Judge in Group 1. And make sure that you're picking the right candidate for you.
Thank you. Closing arguments, Michaela. Same question.
These are unprecedented times, and you're going to need a person who is stable and who is able to be placed in any area in that courtroom. That's me. You're going to need a person that's a part of the community. We've heard a lot today, but what you've heard is, I'm in the community, I'm for the community, and I've done things in this community for over 20 years. Not just legal, but for you. And when we talk about being for you, this is your courtroom. This is a public place. And so when we talk about experience, of course experience matters. Every judge who is running at some point has experience. And I have that said experience as well. But not every single judge has good character. Not every single judge has the ability to make good decisions. And I think that if you do your research, it will show that I make good decisions at all costs, no matter what. You need a judge that's going to be ready on day one to take any role. You need a judge that's going to be able to be fair and humble and to have some integrity. You need a judge who has been in this community and has talked to people of all social and economic backgrounds. You don't need a judge that thinks that just because they're a lawyer, they're more entitled, or just because they're a lawyer, they should have something different than everyone else. That's me. I'm not a politician. I'm in an area of unique practice. Lawyers are the only people who can run for judge. Every other branch can be different members of the society. But us as lawyers, we have a very unique obligation. And that obligation is to carry the law. And I've done that very well. I have an unblemished legal career, and I think that's important. And when you're talking about voting, you need to make sure that you do your research. And that research should be clear and cut. It shouldn't be based upon 1 or 2 times of community service just to please you. You should be able to go back 5 years and say, this is the candidate. You should be able to go back 7 years and say, this is the candidate. This candidate has been in my community. This candidate is for the community. This candidate doesn't just talk. She actually walks the walk, and that's me. And when you're ready to make that hard decision on all of your candidates that you're voting for, remember that your voice is your vote. And I hope that you decide that the first African-American woman to win a contested race on August 18th of 2020 will be me. Thank you very much. Go to Michaela Nix 2020, our Facebook page. You can go to www.nix2020.com, and you'll see a plethora of community service. You'll see a plethora of experience. You'll see family values. And more importantly, you'll see a person who is willing to work hard in any area that you place her. I know that I'll make this community proud, and I'm very proud to serve you. Thank you so much, TJ, for having this show today. Thank you to the intern that's here that you guys don't see behind the scenes. I've been working really, really hard. And to my youth out there, you can do it.
That's right on time. Look like you're probably looking at the clock. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. And this was fun. That was exciting. You know, being able to moderate this and have you all give the fans, or in this case here, the voters, that final push come August 18th. You know, and I just thank you all for agreeing to come and sit down and meet for the first time. And most people think that this was a debate. This wasn't a debate. This is basically a panel discussion on things of what's needed on the bench. And I think you ladies did a fabulous job of doing that. So I thank you once again for coming. And for all the viewers out there, the listeners that are out there, I thank you for tuning in. Make sure you get out there and vote. If you for Team Nix, get out there and vote. If you're for Team Arnold, get out there and vote. So until Tuesday night, I'm your host, TJ Chatman. So keep it locked. The best is yet to come. Let's go.
Orange and Osceola residents, my name is Michaela Nix, and I am running to be your next 9th Circuit judge for Group 1. Experience matters. I am a solo practitioner in the family law arena, and I have conducted over 60 bench trials. I have done over 250 mediations, and I've written successful appellate briefs. During my time as a lawyer, I have done over 800 substantive hearings. This is important, but not more important than community service. Being in the Orlando area for over 20 years of service, I know that your voice is your vote. Please vote for me August 18th, 2020 for your next circuit judge. Fairness, honesty, and justice.
Accomplished, determined, dedicated. That's Rhiannon Arnold, named one of the top 100 defense attorneys in the country. Rhiannon's career has been defined by fighting for the underprivileged and standing up for the disenfranchised. And as a survivor of child abuse, Rhiannon has dedicated herself to caring for our children, serving as a guardian ad litem and family legal aid volunteer. Now she's running for circuit court judge to serve her community in a different, more impactful way. Learn more at arnold4judge.com.